scenes of Tetris gameplay have a strobing effect that may affect photosensitive viewers. Tetris experts think about the game differently. A beginner looks at the piece that's falling and focuses on where to put it. They think, I have this single piece and this looks like a good spot. But you can only get so far in Tetris thinking about one piece at a time. Players must learn to look at the next box. Seeing the next piece in combination with the current piece changes things. The question of placement now has two parts. If I put the current piece here, will I still have a good place to put the next one? Learning this 1-2 dance with the next box is the first major step in high-level Tetris. It's like learning to juggle for the first time. But Tetris experts extend this thinking even further. They consider what's next after the next piece. Because the game can generate any piece at any time, classic Tetris experts build their stack to allow for any possibility. If a piece that's 2 blocks wide appears, there needs to be a place for it on the stack. The same goes for a piece that's 1 block wide or 3 blocks wide. Expert players constantly adjust their stack based on how the next box changes. And the very instant the next box shows a new piece, the entire process repeats. This creates a sort of 1-2-3 style of thinking. They think, I'll put the current piece here, the next piece there, and then, oh, now the plan is changed. This requires flexibility and lightning-quick improvisation. Learning to think this way is what makes a Tetris champion.
That's one of the things that separates people that are novices and people that aren't. Sometimes you can drop a piece on the stack in a way that seemingly makes no sense to an onlooker, but then they see the next piece that drops and they're like, oh. My brother, unfortunately, doesn't always do that. Like, I'll put a long bar straight vertically and he's like, what the f are you doing? And then the next piece fits right in.
To decide the winner of the upper right quadrant of the bracket, Jonas Neubauer faces Chris Brady.
All right, we're going to start the round. Counting down 3 to 1. 3. Oh, all right. Okay. We're waiting for Jonas. Waiting for the rocket.
And here we go. Jonas versus Chris. Round 1. Jonas being the 4-time Tetris World Champion and kind of favored to win at all times.
Yeah, representing Strand Brewing Company. That's where he works, actually. And again, Jonas, at this point in time, the question is, can anybody beat Jonas? And that's the question on everybody's mind.
Year after year, Jonas is just, proven time and time again just how consistent and amazing of a player he is. And we talk about Michael Jordan of being Michael Jordan of Tetris and being at the best in his game. And we're seeing, Jonas in his prime right now. It's always amazing.
I mean, it's a great way to describe him, too, because, I mean, when Michael Jordan was winning all those championships, how many people did he deny? He denied Gary Payton, he denied Patrick Ewing, he denied, Charles Barkley, all these guys. And I feel like that's kind of what Jonas is doing.
Yeah. It's, you don't get too many situations where someone's that dominant, but we've got one here for competitive Tetris.
Yeah, you got to think how many people would have been able to put their name, on the list of champions if it weren't for Jonas so far. And Chris, unfortunately, starting with some really bad pieces. And
big spire in the middle. That's going to be a big mess to clean up.
Man, not a good start here for Chris. Again, these players are too good. I mean, seeded 7th, Chris is obviously a strong player here. These players are too good to be KO'd by this kind of a misdrop.
Right. Lesser players would fall, to mistakes like that. But a pro will just clean it right up, and Chris is on his way to cleaning it.
Yeah. And I mean, the only thing to say is that, it ruins his Tetris percentage. But to be fair, you look on Jonas's side and he's at the same percentage, and
scores
that's
are neck
why
and neck.
That's why the scores are basically the same. So despite that misdrop and despite all that cleaning needed, Jonas hasn't been able to capitalize on that.
Yeah. Also, what you'll notice though is Jonas is really good at throttling. Like he'll play super consistently, and then he'll pour on the aggressiveness when he needs to. And that could be the situation here where he's not playing too risky and he's just hanging in there. And if his opponent survives long enough for him to catch up, then he'll make it happen.
Well, Jonas right now at a 50% Tetris rate, still hasn't had to do as much cleaning as Chris has. And now Chris, those SZs and the JLs, they mirror each other. And it's that much more insulting when the game keeps giving you the one
what a
that
mess. He's up too high. He's not going to be able to clear that down. Jonas takes the first round quite easily, just hanging back and scoring where he can. Didn't need to do too much to take Chris out of that round. So
you see the uncomfortable smile on Chris's face and the head shake, because like I said, there was one point in time he needed, I think it was he needed a Z piece, he got the S piece, he needed the L piece, he got the J piece. And it's just one of those situations where, like you said before, you feel like the Tetris gods are just kind of laughing at you.
You're being mocked by RNG incarnate. And I'll speak to one of the things I think Jonas is strong at is that he builds his play fields to accommodate as many pieces as possible.
Yes.
And then by doing so, you don't become reliant on an S or Z specifically.
And that's the whole goal of playing Tetris, is trying to get your field so that no matter what piece shows up, you have a place to drop it.
Yeah. And I think Thor Ackerlund mentioned in Ecstasy of Order at the end is like you kind of have to Tetris is like life, and you kind of have to take what it gives you and do the best you can with it.
Man, that's too deep for me.
Yeah, it's super
I don't
deep.
want to think about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about that right now.
A lot of people have learned how to live better in life through Tetris, and you might curse RNG one day, but it comes down to how well you deal with every situation.
They always say, right? It's, the ones who get the luckiest are the ones who set themselves up for that luck.
Yeah, you build your own luck here. And, Jonas is building shapes here that, he knows he's going to be able to clear like that. He built a roof over that, burned it down just one line, and it's totally clean again. Man. And here we go. So Jonas still doing a lot of burning here, because you can see now Chris with a beautiful 53% Tetris rate here, and Jonas half of that with about 26%. Just so many safe burns by Jonas here. I think he's just playing safe.
Just a lot of burning that he had to do.
Lots of singles, just things that clear a line. And when you do that, when you clear a single, it gives you some time to think. So maybe there's something to that, right? Like just gives you a little bit more breathing room. You can play a little more calm, a little more collected.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you have the choice between getting 3 singles and a triple, the triple points, I feel like, aren't necessarily enough, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you want to, the thing is, you don't want to take, nice spin there.
Yeah, nice tuck there by Jonas. One of those high-level tucks right there. But, clearing 3 lines in a row maybe gives you time to think a little bit.
It's the act of the line clear itself that buys you time because you're watching the animation, you can see where the play field's at. But in terms of scoring, like a single doesn't feel as painful as a triple because you're buying the same amount of time with less lines.
All right. But look at this. Chris right now doing so well. He's got a boom Tetris 66%.
Yeah, he's got a true lead here, 70,000 points. So this is Chris's chance to get on the board here. He needs to win this round to stay in the match.
And to call this an upset if Chris wins has nothing to do with Chris. That's all Jonas here because, I mean, he's a 4-time champion for a reason. This guy is so strong and, is he the best at NES Tetris in the world? Probably.
In terms of our results, that seems to have been proven so far.
Yeah, there's not a single person out there, I think, who would argue with that claim right now.
Yeah. I mean, when you interview players, a lot of them just say that, they don't want to end up getting sent to the end by Jonas because that's, people fly 2,000 miles to Portland just to have Jonas beat them.
Yeah. Unless, of course, you're Trey, then you set it up on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, Chris now 67% Tetris rate. He is looking so good right now.
Almost up 100,000 points over the 4-time world champion.
Yeah, and again, can't be understated. He's 7th seed in this tournament here, which means that he did extremely well during the qualifying rounds.
With a drought now, up to 20 lines. He took a triple there. So, Chris, definitely ahead, has some room to play safe. So that might be the way to go as we approach transition. Next 37 lines here. Both players right at the 93 line mark.
Yeah, and Jonas here still down by 75,000 right now. Has a little bit of catching up to do. But again, it's still early. We haven't even transitioned yet. So anything can happen at this point.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we haven't actually seen Jonas need to turn on the aggression. So if this round keeps playing out, the catch-up could happen. He's already starting to close that gap. Yeah. Only a Tetris and change ahead now.
And there's something to be said about being the champion. It's just like the nerves don't hit you as much, I feel like. You're probably just like, yeah, I can probably win again.
I don't know. Jonas is kind of a humble guy. I really think that one thing that we do know is that Jonas just loves the game and wants to see our scene thrive. And I don't think he's got too much of an ego about it.
Oh, for sure. All right. Well, he got his playfield clean here, and an OP's perfectly timed.
And Chris's playfield looking good here, just waiting for the long bar. Boom, Tetris for Chris. Approaching transition. If he makes another Tetris, he's going to be at level 19, and we'll see if the complexion of the match changes with that speed increase.
Yeah.
Boom, Tetris for Chris into the transition, level 19 now. Jonas, one more line's going to do it for him too. And transitions, his playfield, it's a bit high. He's still waiting for the log bar, wanting to Tetris, but he's
doing
safely,
a bunch of burning now.
Yeah, he plays it safe and starts burning down.
I mean, that's the thing, if you're so used to modern Tetris, like you feel like you can risk a lot of that, but you just can't do it because Daz literally cannot move the piece far enough, fast enough.
Yeah, knowing your limits and not overstepping them is very important here. And wow, Jonas is dealing with some burning here. And this is Chris's chance to take a round here.
I mean, he's up by 107,000 points, and that is a true lead because they have the same amount of lines at this point. So Chris is looking in a good position, but actually the playfield getting a little messy here.
He's going to have to do some major digging to get back into scoring position.
I think he thought there was going to be a line clear.
He's not going to be able to get over to the left.
No.
And yes, Chris topping out with a 100,000 point lead. We are in a chase down situation. Jonas needing another 100,000 points to catch up and take this round.
Yeah, I really believe Chris thought that there was going to be a line clear at one point. That didn't happen. So he dropped the eyepiece in the wrong place. So Jonas now with the chase down, but his field, well, never mind.
Yep,
it's clean and
up.
Tetris ready now.
And remember I said, it's like Jonas hasn't had to turn on the aggression, but now he does, and he has a clean play field, catching up in score, now only needing a couple of Tetrises and maybe a little change just to get that score.
Yeah, but he has to do a lot of uncomfortable. You see, burning here.
Yeah,
you saw
a few
that O
burns
piece.
are going to be required. He's relatively low on the play field, so he can do it. Just a box with nice pieces for that.
Okay, how's he going to handle this right here? Okay, that sets him up for a Tetris.
Yeah, he's going to go for a Tetris
Okay.
here.
But is he going to get the drought? Yeah, cleaning up just to not get too greedy. Look at this drought.
Ooh,
Oh,
He
no.
needs another long bar. He gets it in. Boom! Tetris for Jonas. All he needs is one more.
Oh,
Feeling
my
the pressure
goodness.
here. Oh, he barely getting that over to the left.
Even a head shake from Jonas. So you know the kind of pressure he's feeling now.
Wow, he's going to turn that into a triple well there. So if he gets a... Okay,
10,000. Just 9,600 now. 8,600.
he's getting within striking. This is okay. He's set up for a Tetris. He's going to
if he
Tetris
can
that.
get there, it
And
is.
boom!
Boom!
Tetris for Jonas.
And there's that Tetris exhale that I always say every Tetris player knows. Whenever you get that one clear and the field goes back to normal, the exhale and satisfaction.
Yeah, that was a really close round. Chris Brady just getting a nice lead at the end there, but Jonas keeping his calm and composure. He was within a few frames of a misdrop that could have ended that all, but he kept it together and sealed the victory there.
Because the classic Tetris scene is so small, close friends often face off in the tournament. A key example is Bo's style. 2 years back, he faced his friend Ben Mullen in tournament play. Both players wanted to win, but neither wanted their friend to lose. Bo won that match. Then last year, Bo and Ben faced off again, but the outcome was reversed.
Bo is Bo. He's from, I've faced him twice at least. I'm hoping to face him again just to complete the triad. We tend to battle each other. I think that if I face Bo, I'll kill him and I'll feel really bad about it again. Or he'll kill me and I'll feel really bad also.
So when you get into the tournament, who would you not want to get matched up against?
Ben Mullen. We're both from Minnesota. We played the last 2 years, and I think we both agree my first year here would have been his third. He was the better player, and I upset him when thinking I didn't have a chance to beat him, and I beat him. Felt bad about beating him, but I did.
Bo is actually one of the more interesting people I've met. He was one of the people I'm actually looking forward most to seeing. As far as a player, he's incredible. Love him, one of my favorites.
I'm pretty close with Bo. You know, we talk a lot about Tetris and all that.
Bo was in the front row last year, cheering for his friend Harry in the final match.
Do you remember like last year watching Harry in that final match?
Oh yeah.
What did that feel like?
It was tough watching those two. You know, you see Harry gets up 2 games on him, and you think it's finally going to happen. Jonas is finally going to go down, and Jonas somehow fights back. I don't know if Harry kind of sloughed off in the last couple games or got comfortable, but Jonas fought back, I guess, and we were all pulling for Harry, and it didn't work out.
This year, yet again, Bo has to face a friend.
When we knew that we were on the same bracket, and we're like, okay, if we both make it, you know, we'll face each other in the quarterfinals. And we were like, okay, like that'll suck. I mean, that'd be great, but that'll suck at the same time. After the top 16, you know, we had lunch, you know, and then, you know, we're all friends. So, you know, we ate lunch together, you know, we're all eating together and all that. And so it's like, okay, like, you know, in about like an hour, we're gonna have to, you know, go at it.
Bo and Harry are the 4th and 5th seeds. Their qualifying scores were close, and their gameplay is close as well.
Bo is the Like, he really honestly is a good player. He plays like a really super aggressive style. He's not afraid to stack up really, really high. Actually, Harry Hong plays a very similar style. Like, Harry is like reckless, and it works out because they have the capability to like work out in their brain, but they both play really high. They both play really loose, like cavalier kind of style, but it works out.
part of my game I think is different, which is probably a disadvantage to me, and players tell me about all the time, is I build too high and try to play too perfect in Tetris all the time, and I get myself in situations where I can't get out of. But that comes out of a feeling that I can get myself out of any situation, and it's just not possible. I want to Tetris every time.
To decide the winner of the lower left quadrant of the bracket, Bo Style faces Harry Hong.
Okay, we're about to start here. All 4 competitors this round have picked level 18 as their starting level. The higher seed usually picks the level, so looks like we're going to be the same across the boards. Go ahead and reset your systems and get ready to start. Okay, guys, we're all going to count down. This is the first game of the semifinals. We're going to count down from 3 to 1. You guys with me? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Harry Hong coming up here against Bo, seeded 5th and 4th respectively.
Yeah, so they were right next to each other in terms of capability and then qualifying.
Yeah, but I mean, look, Harry, he's coming off of a heartbreak of a year last year, not losing a single match, going up 2-0 against Jonas, and then Jonas coming back with 3 matches in a row. Oof.
Yeah.
And those were the only matches he lost that entire weekend was against the matches against Jonas. So he's here right now seeing if he can come back and try to get revenge against Jonas, but
he has to go through Bo first.
Exactly.
And Bo just he's also a veteran, and having played in this tournament before, and coming in 8th place in 2012 and 13th in 2013.
Yeah, one of the things Bo has said about his own play style is that he likes to try to play too perfectly, chases after all the Tetrises. And you saw at the beginning there, it almost came back to bite him. He had a decent drought of the line pieces, but eventually the I-bars came, and he is now in a perfect situation with a 40% Tetris rate.
Yeah, both players with really clean play fields early on. So you're going to see some good scores, potentially.
Yeah, and Harry right now with a very, always has that aggressive expression on his face. Oh, look at that. Back to back to back O pieces. It's just not fun to deal with that, especially when you have to just create a giant column of O blocks like that.
Yeah, unless you build a dirty Tetris on top of it, those are all burned lines that you're seeing there. And that's lost score potential.
Yeah, so he's at 26%. Meanwhile, Bo at 44%, but in a current drought right now, finally gets the line piece, but not in a situation where he could have used it for the Tetris. But he's Tetris ready now. He's got a clean play field, and like I said, he likes to chase for the... Oh, actually, the one moment he decides to stop chasing for it is when that I piece comes, of course.
Harrison's burning away all those boxes that the game gave him, is now in great shape with a totally clean play field, and hoping to get that lead back.
Man, a lot of O pieces that time, but it actually worked out for Harry this time. You can see it, like that giant white block
Yep.
in the bottom left was almost all O pieces. But now they're all gone, and Harry is looking great.
Yeah, both players in great shape. Neck and neck, true neck and neck, because the lines are right there with each other. These two players are super evenly matched.
Yeah. See right now, Bo having to do a little bit of a dig, not a big deal right there. He's pretty much in the clear now, although he needs something to fit in that well in the middle. Finally gets the O piece, and boom, Tetris for Bo. And so now looking good again here with his play field.
Harry going for that column 2 Tetris. Just waiting for the law where it gives it to him. Boom, Tetris for Harry.
Yeah, but then not the best pieces with places to fit in. Actually, no, it's actually kind of
looking
working
like
out
Swiss
for him.
cheese though on the bottom there. He's got to burn those down. That's just what you have to do in that situation. He's opening it up.
Yeah.
Very efficient, though.
Yeah.
Getting the job done.
One of the things you have to do, and a lot of beginner Tetris players always forget, is that, when you're trying to dig down like that, you got to look at the holes at the bottom. You don't want to cover them up. You tend to try to put pieces in optimal positions, but if you keep covering up the hole, you're just never going to dig through. Here we go.
And he's starting to get out of it. And there it is. The clean playfield again.
And boom, Tetris for Bo. They're both at 40% Tetris rate.
They're neck and neck, like true neck and neck here. Both same in terms of lines and less than a Tetris apart.
And look at that. 2,900 apart right now.
And what we'd call a simul Tetris there. Both players hitting Tetris and staying with each other in score.
Okay.
Just over the 100 line mark. Transition is going to happen in the next 20 lines.
Yeah, and you can see Harry does tend to hit down as well. So you
starting
can
to pull ahead in terms of lines.
He has a 5-line lead right now. But that little awkward situation you see over there in column number 9 for Harry.
Yeah, you have to choose whether you want to burn that away or try to go for an off-centered Tetris or a column 9 Tetris like that.
Yeah, bad time to get an O piece, even though he's cleaned through it. Like we said, it's really about that Tetris rate. And so the more you burn, the more, subconsciously you're losing points. So it feels bad. Even though you're safe, you're not going to get topped out or anything. It just feels bad to have to burn those lines like that all the time.
Yeah, Harry just hit the transition first, and now Bo. So they're both into level 19. Bo with a better playfield right now. So Harry having to clean up just a bit. And that's something you need to do. You always want to go into level 19 with the cleanest playfield possible.
Right. And I will say right now, just from my own personal judgment, I feel like Harry has been getting some really unfortunate pieces. Despite having a clean playfield, he hasn't been able to do much with the points, and he's been kind of forced to play the pieces in locations that he would prefer not to.
Yeah, and Bo's lead now, 60,000 points. So that's like a 2.5 Tetris lead at this point. Harry having to do some catch-up.
Yeah, Bo is having to do some digging himself. Actually, those are some really nice pieces that he got. But now he's reliant on the J, but he got that, no problem.
And, digging back down. This is Harry's chance to catch up, though, with Bo doing more digging. Harry having a lot of trouble on his playfield now. That big spire, that's going to be tough to clear. Can he do it? Can he dig that down? Harry's not looking too positive about it, and he's going to give up the ghost there. Bo taking the first round.
Look at that, a 22-piece drought. Yeah, to end him out right over there. You can see Harry with that head shake. Yeah, he knows. And like I said, he was so close to taking the tournament last year. I mean, second place to Jonas in 2010, second place to Jonas in 2013. And so,
right, you'd be able to look at our history and say that Harry has come the closest to dethroning Jonas. So
yeah, up 2-0 against Jonas again, like I had mentioned, and then Jonas taking the last 3 games to obviously by that point it becomes 3 out of 5, and that must have been a hard one for Harry, and that's a hard one to come back from, but you can see right now he's in it, but he's in danger of elimination here at the hands of Bo now.
Right, like a very even match here, and that's not going to be for free. If Harry wins this, he's going to have to earn it.
Yep, it's got to do a little bit of burning. Meanwhile, Bo's playfield looking nice.
And clean. Yeah, Bo's been doing a great job of taking what it gives him and clearing it really fast, and that's made the difference. Harry was having more problems with the digs and having to burn more lines in the last game. So we can see if Harry can make the adjustment and stay clean.
Yeah, Bo at a 71% Tetris rate. That's really nice, but he's got to figure out a way to cover up column 1 and 2. Had an opportunity there to drop the J piece there, and he did not. So he's got kind of
he's got some dependencies that he has to overcome, and it's not giving him the correct facing pieces. So that's why you see that spire in the middle, is because he had to settle for something that wouldn't leave a hole, and he could solve with a tuck.
Nice.
And that's what he did there. He's you can tell that he's wanting to keep the playfield clean. So when you see an ugly spire like that in the middle, he's waiting for another piece combination to allow it for a tuck and leaving no gaps.
Yeah,
and when he said that he tries to play as perfect as possible, I think that's part of what he meant.
Yeah. It was really, really nicely done by Bo. Still maintaining that 59% Tetris rate. But if you look on Harry's side, he's at 60% Tetris rate.
Oh, yeah. This is a great game by both players right now. Their Tetris rates are high. They've kept the burning to a minimum. Excellent display here, especially with Bo setting up those tucks to keep his playfield free of holes.
Yeah, but one thing to note right now, despite being up by 10,000 points, Harry is also ahead by, not as many lines as it was before, but it's not a true lead right now. And Harry's getting a kind of a messy field right now.
Yeah, he's dependent on J's and L's.
Can he pull out of this? Oh, actually, yes. And perfect T-piece. And that sets him up for the Tetris. Boom. Tetris for Harry. So he got out of that mess right there. That was looking a little dangerous, up to 55%. But look at this, Bo building all the way back up to a 67% Tetris rate.
Yeah, Bo's been very efficient with his lines, and that's what he needs to do. So even though the scores are neck and neck, because Harry's about 10 or more lines ahead, it's not quite the true score differential.
And look at this. Back to 68% now for Bo. He is playing so well. Now, that was a little odd drop right there, but, again, nothing that's going to hurt him.
It's a left well Harry. So Harry, when we first saw him playing in the scene, he played with a left well. And that was just what he was comfortable with. And he didn't transition or change over to moving his well to the right side until a little bit later. So Harry's one of the best players when it comes to left well. And the reason why left well is discouraged is because of the way that the eyepiece rotates.
Right.
Biases towards the right being a better fit. So...
Bo, such a dangerous situation there, was playing on the upper half of the field and then was able to dig out, and you could almost see his muscles relax after he got out of that situation. Such a common feeling for a lot of Tetris players. It's like you get yourself in the clear and you just kind of feel this wave of, but again, 26 line piece drought now. Ooh, finally gets it, but
he set up a dependency on the left again, so now he needs another long bar to clear that.
This is not going well.
Ooh, it gives it to him. He gets it over to the left and clears a line. He's got some digging to do, though. He's in trouble if he can't clear this out. He's starting to get okay pieces to do it. Ooh.
Could be better.
It's in trouble.
Can he? No, he needs. Oh, no, that was.
Yeah, there's too many dependencies. He was too high up. He wasn't able to clear it. But yeah, Harry, with much cleaner game, setting up the left well, it's kind of good to see left well Harry again. He's one of the, right, when you see him set it up, it's one of the few that can do it, and he pulls it off, and now we're 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Bo had some bad RNG there, but you mentioned he had set up a bunch of dependencies. When you set up those dependencies, you make the RNG harder to help you.
Yeah, right, because you're just waiting for the piece, and if it never gives it to you, then yeah, it's lights out.
Okay, so tied it up 1-1
Yeah.
now. Again, Harry twice now second place, and then the 2 years that he did not make second place, he was taken out of the tournament by Alex both times.
Yeah, 17th seed Alex Kerr.
Can Harry get himself back into that grand finals position, and will it be again against Jonas?
We will see. But yeah, Bo with a 100% Tetris rate early on, so he's really playing perfectionist. Like that's one thing that he said is that he tries to play too perfect, and sometimes it will get you into trouble, but sometimes it works out. So he's trying to build up on top there, taking the triple.
Every single time Harry has been getting a line piece, it was right when he blocked the right well because of the pieces that he was getting. Finally got himself a Tetris, but as a result, he's only at a 32%, while Bo is at 70% Tetris, right?
Yeah, Bo just trying to get Tetrises with every single line clear if possible. This is a difference in play styles, and when you think about Jonas and why he's been so dominant, I think it has to do with him being versatile with piece placement, and even if you cover up the well, if you're able to open it right back up, then that'll allow you to stay out of trouble.
Right. And speaking of right now, Bo was not getting any line pieces or anything to solve that the right 3 or 4 column situation. Finally got it cleared and is almost Tetris ready. He had to go for the triple right there. He's not getting a T or the S piece. Finally got one of them.
Mm-hmm. And keeps it clean with a tuck. So yeah, compound solutions there for that. And Bo finally scores a Tetris. And Harry scoring a Tetris there. Opts to build on top, and boom, dirty Tetris for Harry.
Nicely done. All right, 45% Tetris rate. But again, Bo is sitting pretty right now with the 71%. He has not dropped below, around 70% for this whole entire match.
Yeah, super aggressive play by Bo here. And that's why he's one of the top contenders and got this far in the tournament thus far.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about how, if you see that you have a lead against your opponent, you can kind of play a little bit safer. The other strategy is to try to bury them.
Yeah, just go all out and all Tetrises all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the play style we're seeing from Bo. And Harry's actually, some of the more aggressive plays have been Harry's over the years.
Right. And again, you look at this, even though he's down 57,000, he's also ahead by 7 lines right now.
Yeah, so it's an even bigger differential than what you're seeing in the numbers.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Harry getting some very awkward pieces. Going to have to start cleaning. But again, that just means the Tetris rate is not going up. So he's still stuck burning a lot of lines instead of actually scoring.
Yeah, and Bo's lead is just increasing.
Yes, this is going to be a tough one for Harry at this point in time. I mean, obviously he's good enough to make it far, but and last in this. But the question is, is he going to have to count on Bo topping out at this point in time?
100,000 point differential at this point. So at some point it becomes insurmountable because you run out of time with that kill screen at level 29.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Almost a 30-piece drought. I think that was a 29 drought. And then, oh no, a bad drop by Harry.
And he's not able to do a tuck or spin out of that. Sometimes you can out of that situation, but wow, the play field is a mess right now. Can he dig out? Harry's going to have to start digging for survival here. He is high up. Transition is coming too in the next 25 lines.
Yeah, Harry's situation is looking bleak right now. Even though he's starting to dig out of this again, that Tetris rate is dropping, and you can see, look at the score lead from Bo right now. Back 8 lines, but with 110,000 point lead.
Yeah, this is a definitive lead by Bo.
Yeah, at this point in time, like I said, maybe the hope here is for Bo to actually top out sometime soon. But if he keeps playing like he's playing right now.
Yeah, but Harry pushes down on the D-pad, so he's ahead by lines, and that makes it so that Bo's lines, he's got more time. Bo has more time to make his Tetrises and to make his score than Harry, since Harry is consistently pushing down and plays aggressively like that.
Right, and Harry has transitioned while Bo is still 8 lines away from transition with a 164,000 lead. Ooh.
And Harry having to eat a triple there too, burning lines that could be more optimized for Tetrises. So if Harry wants any hope of catching up, he's going to have to turn on the aggression and start playing clean at the same time. That's a tall order for any Tetris player.
Right.
Ooh, Harry with a misshift there. Clears it right off.
And again, Bo has not dropped very far below 70% Tetris rate. He just transitioned.
Just super efficient and aggressive, and really playing as best as he can here.
Right. Opts to take a triple because he knows it's too risky to try to chase for more at this high of a level. But look at that. He's Tetris ready at level, level 20.
Harry eating another triple, and Harry's going to start gonna need to start making more Tetrises if he ever hopes to catch up here.
Yeah, at this point in time, and then you see a misdrop from Harry, another misdrop. So at this point in time, I really feel like.
Yeah, Harry's gonna have to dig out of this.
Wait! Look on the left
Bo's
over
in
here.
trouble. He's not gonna able to get anything to that left side, and Bo tops out
At level
just
21.
like that, so fast.
But look at this. He's at 146,000 lead, and the field of Harry is not great. And he's running out of time. Remember the kill screen at level 29. If he's not going to score any Tetrises at this point in time, I don't know if he can make the catch up.
Yeah, it would actually take a high proportion of Tetrises at this point in order for Harry to catch up. And he's still digging down.
Oh, man. And now for Bo, this is excruciating because he just has to play the waiting game.
His score's set in stone. There's nothing he can do about it but watch.
Yeah, but look at this. A dependency on 2 J's right there finally gets one. And again, this situation for Harry right now, he just hasn't been able to get any Tetrises. And as a result, he has not been able to really cut significantly.
He's been having
to
cover his holes with other pieces. And that just, it makes it demoralizing. You have to drill that back down. We're getting down to like 2 more levels that he can score with.
Yeah, this is crazy. He's running
Kill
out of
screen is
time.
coming.
Again, kill screen because Daz just can't move the pieces to the side fast enough.
The pieces drop too fast for you to be able to make Tetrises or lines with. And yeah, we call it the kill screen for a reason.
Yeah, and you can see right now Harry in full concentration mode. He got a Tetris. Look at this. He's 75,000 down.
So 2 Tetrises and change could catch him up. And boom, Tetris for Harry. This chase down starting to look possible.
Oh, level 28. This is it.
Yeah.
If he cannot get a Tetris here.
Is Tetris or death. He needs to make Tetrises. Ooh, Spire in the middle. Boom. Tetris for Harry.
It's not enough. It's still not enough. He needs 2,400 more points. Oh, my goodness.
He's going to single it out. Bo standing up now.
164.
Oh, man.
164.
Just a line clear. And he does it.
There it is.
With the single.
Right before the kill screen. He got it. Literally 1 line before the kill screen.
Yeah.
And he's going to win by 2,000. And, maybe pressing down was the reason because he got.
That's not, a huge amount of points. He had just a few hundred, and that might have made a difference. But definitely, it came down to that last single and being able to handle the pressure, know how many points you need, and survive to make that happen.
Oh my! And
wow.
that is a buzzer beater if ever there was a buzzer beater. And Harry Hong defeats Bo by 2,000 points at the kill screen.
And not only that, he had to battle back from that score kind of. Yeah, that score deficit was insurmountable looking.
Yeah.
And with time running out, right, you only have a certain amount of lines that you can make before you hit the level 29 kill screen, and Harry did it.
That's what we call composure. Well played by Harry Hong.
After that intense match, Harry Hong proceeds to the top 4. Next, Harry will face the winner of the match between Alex Kerr and Elijah Markstrom. Jonas Neubauer also proceeds to the top 4. Jonas will face the winner of the match between Terry Purcell and Josh Tolles. In the next episode, we'll see those matches and decide who goes to the final round.
I was playing too much like I was playing at home, where you could top out, but you could just play right away, and it's okay. This is the way I think about it. At home, you're obviously when you're trying to score the highest points you can, you're going for the gold. You're going for the gold. You're playing the best you can. You're just going all out. And I realized for a tournament, especially in this format, you can't do that because each game is so important that you gotta kind of go for the silver to get the gold. You know, you have to kind of hold yourself back a little bit, you know, and that's pretty much what I had to do. You know, I couldn't be like going like, you know, boom, boom, boom. I had to like be like, okay, you know what, let's step back a little bit and just play a little more conservative, but the best you can. You know, that's pretty much it. So pretty much going for the silver to win the gold. I think that's what, you know, the conclusion I, you know, came down to, yeah.